Come on.
I will not.
Angela likes me.
Somebody like you, that's why you're.
Well,
Okay. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ask the clerk to take the roll.
Supervisor Michaelenko,
Here.
Sirs Alex,
Here.
Fiorenza,
Here.
Dueling,
Here.
Lee Hood, here, Mannion,
Here.
Ruckteschel.
Here.
I'll ask the clerk to read the notices.
Please take notice that on the 25th day of March, 2025, at the Town of DeWitt Town Hall, located at 5400 Butternut Drive, East Syracuse, New York, the Town Board of the Town of DeWitt will hold a public hearing which shall commence at 7 p.m. to consider the following resolution. The Town Board of the Town of DeWitt proposes to dissolve the East Syracuse Fire Protection District as required for the extension of the DeWitt Fire District into all of the former East Syracuse Fire Protection District. The proposed dissolution shall become effective upon the successful vote of the town board. The town board may meet immediately following the public hearing to vote on the proposal. Please take further notice that a public hearing will be held in conjunction with a public hearing on the expansion of the DeWitt Fire District into the then dissolved East Syracuse Fire Protection District. Such hearing will be held at the same time, date, and place. All persons interested may be heard on both subjects at that time. Please take further notice that a descriptive summary of the plan of dissolution for the East Syracuse Fire Protection District shall be as follows. The Town Board of the Town of DeWitt proposes to dissolve the East Syracuse Fire Protection District as required for the extension of the DeWitt Fire District into the Town of DeWitt's soon-to-be former East Syracuse Fire Protection District, together encompassing the entire former East Syracuse Fire Protection District and the present DeWitt Fire District. The proposed dissolution shall become effective upon approval of the town board or at a date as later determined by the town board, at which time the DeWitt Fire District shall be expanded into the former East Syracuse Fire Protection District. The proposed plan of dissolution may be examined at the Town of DeWitt Town Hall, Butternut Drive, 5400 Butternut Drive, East Syracuse, New York. The description of the territory affected is as follows. beginning at a point where the easterly line of the city of Syracuse intersects the center line of Springfield Road, running thence easterly along the said center line of Springfield Road and said road extended to the center line of Erie Boulevard East, then southerly along the center line of Erie Boulevard East, then southerly along the center line of Erie Boulevard East to its intersection with a prolongation of the center line of Towpath Road. Thence easterly along the center line of Towpath Road as it winds and turns to the easterly line of the town of DeWitt. Thence northerly along the east line of the town of DeWitt to the northeast corner thereof. Thence westerly along the north line of said town of DeWitt as it winds and turns to its intersection with the center line of Springfield Road, the point of the place of the beginning, excepting therefore the village of East Syracuse. This was published in the Post Standard on March 11th, 2025.
Thank you. I have about a 15-minute presentation I'd like to go through. Then I will, again, this is to explain how we got to where we are this evening.
You're actually gonna tell the truth?
Oh, come
I
on.
would appreciate
Come
if you hold your commentary until the open section, and you can ask me that question once you've signed up and come to the podium. Again, I would hope that you keep your comments respectful and address them only to the board. Speak up.
Okay, speak up.
All right. Purpose of tonight's meeting is the consolidation of fire districts. The DeWitt Fire Department has been authorized or approved to maintain fire protection services in the North District starting January 1st in 2025. And one of the goals here is to preserve the North Town tax rate. The East Syracuse Fire Department still exists. You know, there's been a lot of banter about its closure. It's a village fire department, always has been. It will continue to serve the village. And we are very proud of the tradition that exists with that. And we acknowledge the past and current membership. We're very grateful and thankful for the job that they have done and continue to do. The village of East Syracuse has had staffing issues with volunteers in recent years. Onondaga County is down 40% of its volunteer service. New York State is no different. The nation is no different. It's a trend that's continuing in today's society.
Can't hear you.
Can't hear anything.
Every time you walk away,
Stand right there. Okay. All right.
You can't hear nothing.
There has been a declining number of volunteers, nation, state, Onondaga County, locally over the years. The village has made no secret of the difficulty in maintaining volunteers. And subsequently, they've been increasing the number of caretakers that they maintain on staff. They've made it clear to us that they are transitioning to a paid fire department over time. The schedule looks to be on path for a 3 to 5 year period. The proposed tax rate for the North Town, had we assigned the contract to the village of East Syracuse, today would be $1.67 per 1,000. Our legal counsel is also being the use of caretakers as an illegal substitute for fire personnel. For a firefighter.
Where did they come?
Define here, yes, thank you. Could you define here?
Again, this is what the village calls their staff.
What do you mean by caretaker?
Right, just define, I don't know. I mean,
It's someone that staffs the firehouse at the village under and maintains the fire department. It's someone that's been responding to calls.
Are they
They are
firefighters?
firefighters.
They are firefighters.
Are they firefighters? I say yes or no.
The answer is, our legal counsel tells us that's it. All right, next slide. please.
Legal
The
counsel.
actual
Why you
contract
here?
We've been
Finish the
signing contracts on an annual
Pardon?
basis. We have been signing contracts with the village on an annual basis. Infinitum. The town covers 80% of the costs on that, the village covers 20% of the cost on that. This is based on the response calls inside the town and inside the village. Town has never included the cost of maintaining Station 2 in that form. The 80-20 split is purely inside the contract of the town-village relationship, and we spend another $50,000 a year, $270,000 a year on a bond payment for Station 2. The town has always presented itself to the village as willing to pay for fire protection services. Next slide, please. It was the volunteers. For the length of time that I've been involved in politics and others as well before me, that have asserted that the village has overcharged the Northtown residents for fire protection services, that our contract represented a greater dollar than the actual expenditure on fire services.
What?
The past budgets presented to us have always been budgets and never substantiated costs. Next slide. Please. The town has offered on numerous occasions over 20 years to create a cooperative partnership between the town and the village so that we could manage the fire department together. We're looking to share the costs and share the responsibilities. We've offered either not-for-profits, corporations, some legal entity that we set up with a shared board of directors with representatives of the town and the village and representatives of the East Syracuse Fire Department. Slide, please. The village has rejected the cooperative arrangement for over 20 years. There's been constant threats to the town of cancellation of services. Constant threats of press releases and public announcement that the North Town is going to go without fire protection. There's been multiple occasions of equipment threatened to be withheld from providing service to the residents that have paid for it.
But you didn't sign the contract.
The town has requested joint ownership on those vehicles, considering we're paying 80% of the freight. The village position has always been, through their lawyer, that it is a services contract. And that expenditures of money don't matter if we agree to the contract. Next. The town maintains numerous service contracts. We have contracts with water and sewer repairs, electrical, HVAC,
We don't even have a
custodial.
sewer main that's
Solid
here.
waste.
Don't even go there on that.
So,
Pretty talk to you guys about
but
that.
any of those services, we go to repeated bid. This is a contract that we have not gone to repeated bid, and we haven't put it out 3 to 5 year cycle like most of our services. Next. On October 8th of 2024, 3 weeks after we had already established our tentative budget, we got the communication from the village saying they were imposing an $800,000 increase.
It's a lie.
To the town. That $800,000 would have forced us to break the tax cap. We haven't broken the tax cap except once, just after COVID, with a 3.5% tax increase. The rest of the time, in the last 20 years, we've gone less than 2%. Our average over the last 18 years is about 1.5% increase in total budget. So this 800,000 would have been a significant blow. Next slide, please.
I think I've already done that.
Okay, the town's not obligated for fire protection service. It's a special class of its own to go to request for proposals or to go to request for bids. Because we felt the quality of service was just as important as the cost, we went to request for proposals. We solicited multiple agencies. Next. The DeWitt Town Board, as you know, in December selected the DeWitt Fire Department to provide service as of January 1. Their proposal identified the need for negotiations. Subsequent negotiations were performed based on that proposal. And the terms of the proposal are outlined here. The DeWitt Fire Department will provide that fire protection in 2025. It's $400,000 than the request the village had asked for.
You're wrong. You are wrong, you know it.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you are. You are backdoor deal with the whip word. Probably should have talked to everybody first before doing that, by going in and asking.
Allow me to
Whip to
finish,
stop
I'll
this.
explain why.
That ain't right.
So anyways, the DeWitt Fire
Right,
Department
do it,
will
fireman,
provide the
overtime,
service
overtime.
$2
Come
million.
on, Syracuse, not DeWitt.
Jonathan,
Let him speak.
Why, so we can keep
Well, let him
lying?
speak up so everybody can hear him.
Oh, so you can listen to hear him, that's why.
Still lie?
You cannot get online.
Oh, Ed, that's bad for business. Come on. You guys are stealing money from people who they got audio.
You saving $400,000 on fire.
So,
Yeah. Did audio.
so anyways, we.
Walmart's got what,
I
1999?
think this is going
Part
to
of
be
the
easy
terms
tonight.
of the agreement were to consolidate the two
You really
districts.
think so?
And the reason this consolidation is occurring.
It's gonna get worse.
Highlighted there, but it's called a special tax. zone. Only a fire district can establish a special tax zone. The agreement is to put 2 or more special tax zones to maintain the lower tax rates in the Northtown residents. But DeWitt will provide the Northtown with a lower tax rate than they do in central DeWitt.
That's what it is, yeah.
Well, Trent, what is it? The town will transfer station 2 to the DeWitt Fire Department, and there'll be no further charges to the residents. Next slide, please. The advantages of a special, the advantages of a special tax zone and a consolidation is only a fire district can establish the special zone. This will be operated and maintained by an already existing paid department. It's a high-quality professional service, and there's no wait for the evolution of that department to become a paid department. And we've seen that elsewhere, and it's occurring here, but under the village's own mission, they are migrating to a paid fire department.
They should.
The complete coverage of the district and timely response, and it avoids the duplication of command staffs, chiefs, captains, etc. And there will be long-term savings through the special tax zone. Next, please. The DeWitt Fire Department is a highly trained and highly experienced group. They have an ISO rating of 2. It's being
Highly
reevaluated,
paid.
but we're looking to retain that rating.
They had a.
They will cover-
Their district.
They will cover the district from Station 2, and much of this district is in close proximity to the fire barn on East Genesee Street. But this building, for example, Erie Boulevard, Moyne College, those areas are in relative close proximity to their existing station. Next. I went through the county's emergency management districts and I compiled the 5 past years of response times, and I compared the East Syracuse Fire District to DeWitt. DeWitt responded in that period of time to over 10,000 calls. East Syracuse responded to 4,000, so they're about 40% of the DeWitt district in terms of total volume. The average response time of DeWitt, these are the county's numbers, not mine. The average response time. The average response time in East Syracuse district is 7.5 minutes, 7 minutes and 27 seconds.
From 2020,
To be exact.
maybe 2025 number then.
There's only been 24 calls inside the East Syracuse Fire District in 2025. There's been 500 the way it's responded to in the North Town in its own coverage. And so 2025.
Yeah, what?
Fire department should get there very quickly.
Get every yearly update, like
These numbers
25.
don't take- There's cited for the data there, and every year. The Witt Fire Department has responded on average in 6 minutes time and. The.
Well, they've got a full picture.
They've got paid
The
staff,
standard
they're
for
being volunteer.
5 minutes, 20 seconds, they're nailing it.
Yeah, they are.
All right, next slide, please.
And that's fine.
All right, here's, here's the proposed. Syracuse proposal that was sent to us, gave us a tax rate that I highlighted in red that would be right now. $1.67 per thousand. With the contract with the Witt Fire Department, our current 2025 tax rate in the North Town is $1. It was one.
This year.
This year.
This year.
120 last year. Beyond that point, beyond that point, I have a total of a 3.5% raise. I highlighted that the village put in their proposal. It ranges, and this, again, I admit, that's subject. Right, I mean, the 2026, 27 budgets aren't.
It's the second
There's
passage
things
to
that can
raise it.
change on that, but if we just leave everything the same. If we kept everything the same, we went with the 3.5% increase, you'd have a schedule posted on the board there. We're looking to establish that special tax zone and maintain for that entire period a tax rate below 100, but 150, which is still lower than and there will be a greater rate on businesses in the tax rate, but it's still got a lot of room to come up from $1 to $1.67. Don't have those numbers yet, but again, there's still 67 cents per thousand.
They gotta have.
Should have been fair. Next slide, please. All right, and I think this comes to the bottom line. It takes two willing partners to contract. The village has had a non-negotiable stance. Every time a contract is exchanged between us, it's a take it or leave it. Failure to provide proper documentation of actual expenditures. Constant threats of discontinued.
Sit down like a president.
Constant threats of proof and refusal of ownership on the vehicles. Those are the contentions that the town board has over this contract.
So it's your problem, right? You're the reason, you're the reason why.
And I have a question, why was it?
Next slide, please.
To be a fire
All right,
district 6
and
years
you
ago?
guys are reinforcing this. Well, one of the objectives of the town board is to push towards a paid professional department, right? If we're gonna evolve to that, if we're gonna evolve to a paid
What do you
professional
want, paid or
department,
not?
we want paid professional.
I'm perfectly happy.
In the attacks on my,
All of what you just said, because I don't
Very
think anybody back there.
You turn that way, we can't hear you this way.
It's true. I'm not saying nothing.
one of the reasons we're making this decision is we are migrating to a paid professional department.
Vote, see how you do it. Why ain't you let the phone on it?
Volunteers.
Let
And I pay the guys that are there right now.
One of the reasons is they're not professionals. Hey, so get that pain that we face, we feel is inaccurate. We're only looking for fire protection. Where's the proof? We feel it'll be low cost. The proof will be in their tax bill.
No, man.
Let me just say some knowledge. Population 25,000. Northern Town District is between about 10,000.
Larger than this.
But.
This four deals we are doing.
You want to call the people?
All right, I'm gonna call your name and at that time you can step up to the podium and speak. The first person to speak.
Can't hear.
Can't hear her either.
The first person to speak is Rick.
Yeah.
Klein.
All the notes that I think you guys can all hear me if I'm facing this way. Because I got. That's how you speak. For the last couple of weeks, I've been doing research on everything you guys have done. And granted, you, the town board, are, I would say, as far as I can see right now, are legally doing things that I think you're doing things you believe are legally correct. There's two parts in government. There's legal, and there's ethical.
And it's more.
Let me.
And it's more. Let him talk.
Tom.
Wait, myself.
You're like me.
What you gentlemen have done and what I've seen and all the research I've done, the moral part is totally not there. Everything done in special session. You're gonna go to an executive session after this and make up your own mind, which you've already made up, which is basically gonna go in and be a rubber stamp. Now, I didn't think tonight I would get insulted. In 1976, when I completed my career in the Coast Guard, I went into the volunteer fire service. Raise your hand up there if any of you have had essentials in firefighting. No, you're state certified or not. How about when you're EMTs?
Nobody.
How many, they'll raise their hand, shoot themselves. in the foot.
They got their thoughts and put on my.
How many of you guys have actually gone into a burning building. How many of you people up there really know what it takes? Now, it's a great career. I got some numbers here. There are 29,452 fire departments in the United States. 18,873 of them are volunteer, all volunteer. These guys.
Yep.
Me. There are some departments that are mostly volunteer that have 2 or 3 paid staff. There's about 5,300 of them. And then there's mostly career with some volunteers that are 24,000, or 2,400. And then there's all career, which is only 2,785. Out of 29,000 fire departments, with 18,000 of them being volunteers, what's not professional on what they do? And we all need state and national certification.
Right.
Okay, so your professionalism, that's out the window. That's number one. Number two, you say you're gonna save us money. Do you know the difference between a fire district and a fire protection district?
We have a legal counsel that will define
Okay,
it.
fire protection district is like what East Syracuse is. All volunteers. It's a district. They put in their budget. The town or the municipality gives them the money. If they run out of money, it's their tough luck. Go do a bake sale, go do a boot drive, go do something else. A fire protection, a special district, well, you say you can hold our taxes down. There's nothing that says that they can't levy. It says right here, they're authorized to levy a tax or can require the municipality to level the tax, subject to the levy of the tax that is not part of the municipality's tax. So you can keep it at 2%. The pay department, the fire district can jack it up another 2%. That's 4%. What you promise, you can't promise what they're gonna do. And I've got nothing against the DeWitt Fire Department. Believe me. They're very good. They're very professional. They're a paid department. They should be. They got the city. They got the hospitals down there. That's very good. But when I want somebody to come to my house, I want a neighbor. I want somebody I know, and I want somebody I know I can trust. Let's see, you said, oh, geez, she said so much stuff. I can't.
So much bullshit.
I can't get over it. You said that they can't have caretakers. Do you know what a caretaker is? Caretaker is the guy that comes to our firehouse in South Bay, and he fixes the garden around the little monument, the 9/11 monument we got. I live in the town of DeWitt. I live on Calhoun Street. I live about a mile from the firehouse. Why am I a South Bay fireman? It's part of a tradition. In 1955, my father and 30 other guys went out, scraped up the money, and built that South Bay Fire Department with 2 bays and a bunch of concrete. And it's still going today. It's still an all-volunteer fire company. We have a program. So this takes your caretaker thing right out of it. We have a program called the duty program. They called me back into the fire department because of my qualifications and they needed drivers. This is something that a lot of fire departments are doing. They're getting a lot more people on the floor, standing by and not paying the high dollars. This is something this fire department can do. And the dealings I've had with this town over the past dozen years, I've never have been able to have a decent conversation with anybody. So if you're trying to tell me that you can't deal with these guys, these are the guys that go into the worst, the nastiest, the most difficult situations you can think of. They're going in to help their neighbor. And you're insulting them and you're throwing them out.
Yep.
Because I know what you're gonna do after everybody says what they're gonna say. You're gonna go into your executive session and you're gonna say, oh, I'm glad this is over. Here. You're gonna rubber stamp it and say, sorry, we voted for no. What you should do is you should put it to the residents of the town.
Rosemary.
Guys, I'm not gonna be long tonight. But I do wanna look at each one of you board people, okay? I've lived in East Syracuse my whole life. And we've had our own house for a long time. And the taxes come. And do we ever call you up and complain about it? No. We say, we live in East Syracuse, we like what Town of DeWitt does, we like what East Syracuse does, and we've never complained. And I don't think too many other people have complained either. So we're gonna go back to where East Syracuse asked for $2,390,000. And that was $728,000 over what they had into the year before. And so then we looked at DeWitt, what they asked for. They're asking for the $5,357,000. And you got DeWitt, that's like a 9-mile radius. You got our northern district that is almost 3 times that large. And yet because we have the volunteers, we have a lot lower cost. But they did want a couple paid guys. They didn't say they wanted to go to a paid department. All they said was they wanted a couple paid guys to be there for any things that for the calls. So it really wasn't that much. But now, here you go. You know, you guys, it's just like I said before, the money doesn't make any sense. Okay? You're going to have this new fire department over there. And I imagine they're gonna have the 5 million thing too. Right now, they got 2 million for 4 guys. And that doesn't include any of the maintenance on the building, any of the fuel for the trucks. So I don't know what the real price is, okay? And he hasn't said what it is, so. And trucks, obviously, Town of DeWitt didn't have, they didn't need as many trucks as East Syracuse. So the new trucks were gonna be $4 million. And I wanna say, nothing to do against DeWitt, but it is being investigated that the guy who owns the company that they're buying the trucks from happens to be a fireman in DeWitt. But anyways, that was 4 million. So here we go. We got $6 million just for this year. And we wanted $2,390,000. It just, I said before, where do you guys come up that this is even any place, okay? All right, guys. So what are we gonna do here? Are we gonna say to our people that it doesn't matter how much you're gonna be, your taxes are going up because we're throwing that money over there because we don't need those volunteer guys anymore? But that wasn't what they asked for, was it? They only asked for enough for for 4 paid fire guys. Now you have 4 paid fire guys over there and you're giving them $2 million. They were only asking for 728. Does that make any sense? Okay, I guess that's all I'm gonna talk about was money, because none of it makes any sense. If I was a bookkeeper for years, and if you came with me those kind of numbers, let me tell you, None of it would have been approved.
Next is Michelle Rourke.
New York is a referendum state in local government, isn't it? Why wasn't this brought to a public referendum? It should have been. You see how angry these people are. This fire department has covered us 136 years.
Yeah.
We're happy with them. The price of the taxes going up, our assessments go up every year ridiculously. Now the taxes will go up.
For sidewalks.
Now the taxes, don't tell me they're not gonna go up. That they're gonna be lower because we saw the 5-year progression. Okay, so we're gonna be paying that. I just wanna know why this wasn't brought to a public referendum. Do you think that you know more than we do? Do you live in the town of DeWitt?
Yes.
You do? It's a- Not only that, but on the day of the St. Patrick's Day Parade, where was the one ladder truck that DeWitt has? It was in the parade. That was irresponsible. And number 3, Station 2 has always had 2 trucks that East Syracuse Fire Department put in there. Now there's 1. Insufficient.
We have more than two.
Yeah, sometimes.
Yeah.
And now there's only 1. Oh. Who am I gonna sue if something happens to my house? Am I gonna sue the town? Or am I gonna sue DeWitt Fire Department because, oh, wait a minute. The contract says they can't be sued, the town or the fire department, for any reason. Call me a liar.
Did you answer the question though about the referendum?
He doesn't have an answer.
Because they don't care what you think.
Wondering.
Okay, the next person up is Scott McGinnis.
John McGinnis, on the president of the East Syracuse Fire Department Incorporated. I want to hear what you got to say. For over 135 years, the East Syracuse Fire Department has served and protected the village of East Syracuse, and for at least 60+ years has protected the businesses and residents in the northern portion of the town of DeWitt. But because of a dispute between 2 government agencies, that arrangement has been destroyed. Your decision to end this arrangement was done behind closed doors and with little or no transparency. Your decision to put this contract out for an RFP in October showed how much of a sham that process was. Something as important as fire protection should not be rushed to a decision in 2 months. Even your winning bidder indicated that it was not feasible to implement the changes in time for January 1st. You allowed little or no time for the public to express their concerns or to properly inform yourselves of all the ramifications of your decision. I now ask that you scrap this proposal to dissolve the East Syracuse Fire Protection District. I ask that you negotiate directly with the East Syracuse Fire Department Incorporated, take back coverage of the East Syracuse Fire Protection District, and return this area back to the fire department that is already equipped, not only with knowledge and experience, but also with the appropriate fire apparatus to do so. The village of East Syracuse has already expressed a willingness to allow to negotiate with the East Syracuse Fire Department Incorporated. And I add, sorry. The village of East Syracuse has already expressed a willingness to allow the East Syracuse Fire Department Corporation to do just that, negotiate directly with the town. If you are not willing to negotiate with the East Syracuse Fire Department Incorporated, then I ask you allow the public to vote via referendum if they wish to dissolve the Fire Protection District and become a part of the DeWitt Fire District. That would be true transparency. In closing, As some of you end your political careers here in the town of DeWitt, you won't be remembered for the carrier park, or the trails through the town, or a solar park. You will be remembered by the members of the East Syracuse Fire Department and many residents in the northern portion of the town of DeWitt as the board that destroyed a very proud and prestigious fire department.
And, chinos.
The next person to speak is Paul Haynes.
I'm all set, thank you.
The next person is Len DeBello. Junior or senior?
I have a question for the board members. Ruling Mr. Conti and Mr. Torenzo, do any of you even know where Northtown is? Have you been in the Northtown district? And I am a father and grandfather of firemen, one's a chief. They have put their life aside to take care of our district. All of these guys. Like I said, we have a nice, close neighborhood. We need to have a referendum with that neighborhood and not this predetermined answer. Hopefully, this is not already predetermined. Thank you.
Next is Tom DeCarey. DeCare, sorry.
It's okay. I don't know, I got an invitation here, I've never been here, not even before that. And so I hope you're enjoying your roast, but I'm not here to do that, I just wondered who is the author of this? This was like rolled up in my door and I've read through it and I just had some questions and I'm wondering, well, who's the author of this to answer these? Anybody? Oh, you are? And I heard Haynes.
Paul Haynes, chief of East
Oh, you're the chief. Wow, chief. And how long you been the chief?
Since October.
Oh, you're not the one that dresses up as Santa, are you? That goes. Anyway, so can. All right, so you guys should be able to answer this too, right? The chief knows, right? All right, so I'm sorry, I'm just not understanding. I know about the tax rate. I get 2 exemptions. One for combat veteran and disabled combat veteran injured Afghanistan. I'll let you know, I volunteered to go in the military, okay? But, and I'm glad that I hear about some of these guys getting injured too, not fun. Anyway, so what I'm, some of the things I'm not understanding, I seen your figure here, the 2,390 was up there for 2025, which that is the updated one, right?
2025, the tax rate in the North Town is $1 per thousand.
Okay, so according to the clerk here, I live on North Highland and Avon Street, which would be north of James Street. So, and this was on my door, so I assume I'm in this district.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. All right, thank you. And I'm seeing this other, I just seen it today, because everybody, I didn't realize it was gonna be a convict zone when I came here. Anyway, I see this other figure, 3,044, 672 for 2 personnel, 24/7. It was just 40 volunteers, so that roughly figures out to like $650,000. Is that what you're paying the 2 24/7 personnel?
You ought to ask them.
I don't
You
know.
ought to ask them what they pay DeWitt guys.
We didn't make up.
We didn't make that sheet up.
Oh, that's what, okay, so you don't, all
Not
right.
done by the town
Well,
board.
then, so like,
But this is please keep your questions directed to the board.
oh, okay,
You
yeah.
don't want it as.
Well, that's what I was asking.
Yeah, You can,
Is this correct? Then if this is any you,
As
you're telling me this is correct? So-
Yeah, that's the person that made it up. We didn't make that up.
Okay. Well, I see your figures, and if any of those figures, and you say that, they had different figures than yours, there's some discrepancy, has you ever called for an audit or anything like that?
It's coming.
Oh, it is.
It's coming.
I'm sorry, you keep directing me. Okay,
It's
all
coming.
right, so.
If you're asking if we've had an audit, the answer is yes. We've had 2 audits.
And what did you find out? I mean, you're saying there was.
we audit ourselves every year.
It's like,
Town of DeWitt has an audit.
I got the state coming after him.
We have an audit every year.
every year?
Yeah, our audit.
Where did you find this discrepancy? You say that they had and
Oh,
you had?
our audits in our,
Your audits or a separate?
we audited the village twice. The village provided budget numbers, but did not substantiate those costs with the audit.
Okay, so the town attorney done this audit? Who did the audit? IRS?
Yeah, no, a licensed CPA.
A licensed CPA that works for the town?
No,
No.
Okay,
no, it was a Grossman St. Amour.
okay.
Name
All
it.
right, well, moving on here, and as I said, this is a lot of information that I'm trying to keep it quick here before they hang you. It says about 2 million to the DeWitt Fire Department. And the money's there, and it's saying that the fire district shall provide town with an accounting of the quarterly costs of staffing Station 2 is anticipated but not required, that most of the funds are utilized to fund staffing costs. What?
That's true of almost any form of government. The town of DeWitt, for example, spends 80% of its tax revenue on
Right.
staffing.
Okay,
We have a police department, a highway department, staff personnel that work this building.
okay, so you're saying that's all inclusive of that. All right, the other thing is too, now, so as I go down here, I see these response times and they seem to be more updated than what you had up there. These are from the beginning of the year
No,
to the
we
28th.
agree with those response times. For 2025, the East Syracuse Fire Department has responded inside the village of East Syracuse at a faster time than they ever have in the previous 5 years, because they now have a smaller district and they're closer to the calls. And so their calls are in the 4-minute range right now on a total of, I think, 50 calls.
You got
We've had 5 up.
Anyway, all I know is, just,
Response times are always better than DeWitt's.
and yeah, I'm seeing that here. Now, granted, I live, I guess, very close, so time over distance. I had the fire department come once because I never knew that steam could set off a smoke detector. And I was in the shower and they got there way faster than any of these were. By the time ADT called me, they were almost knocking at the door. So I don't even know where this 4 minutes comes from, but again, I live not far. So in all of these response times too, I'm thinking if I could, maybe what if 2 or 3 incidences happen up around town or something? I'm looking at this thing here, talking about the East Syracuse Fire Department and the equipment they got, and DeWitt Fire Department. Now, are you putting all of these engines and trucks together to work?
No.
That's what mutual aid does. What we're doing is we're staffing. Station 2 will be staffed and maintained by the DeWitt Fire Department. The village, East Syracuse Fire Department will still manage and operate out of Station 1.
All right.
All the way out over the Wegmans. They gotta come from Wegmans all the way here. That's where they come from.
Genesee Street.
On Genesee Street.
And I
Yeah,
can't.
I was gonna say, All right, so let me get this straight. So these 2 engines, a truck, it looks like a light rescue truck and an EMS truck. Those 5 vehicles are gonna be added to these vehicles from the East Syracuse Fire Department?
No, Oh, they're separate,
They're gonna stay at their own station.
right?
Well, I've been behind that DeWitt one, and I'm telling you, as a diesel mechanic for 20 years, that thing needs some work. I think you don't make it.
Good, don't say that, that's where our tax money's going, to buy them in trucks.
Maybe you should fix them. So these engines here you're buying these, or these are the ones they
That
already
sheet,
have?
that sheet outlined what the East Syracuse Fire Department has for equipment and what they have supposed DeWitt has for equipment.
Are you saying the sheet's wrong?
Well, they have, then,
I'm not saying any, one thing or another. I did not author the sheet.
You know, they don't have enough trucks.
well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it looks like something's cut off here at the bottom. 8, I'm saying, for the East Syracuse Fire Department opposed to 5. Now, I know I'm not always a believer in more is better, especially when it comes to anthrax. But anyway, I would say more engines and more trucks would be better.
Yes.
But you're not adding these trucks to these trucks. Where are these
No.
trucks gonna go? I mean, auction or what? Does
No.
the town recoup any
Station
money?
one, East Syracuse.
The village has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
The village is nothing, that's separate.
We're talking about
Yes, sir.
our side that you're in,
Yeah, that I'm in.
the
Yeah.
North Territory.
They had one truck out of Station 2 for a rescue truck too. Somebody died across the street from me a month ago, 2 of them, and what they said? A big pumper. No rescue truck, a big pumper. That's all they got. But East Syracuse got the big rescue, that's a stone throw from my house. And they could have been there faster with a rescue truck.
Okay, so this again, I guess my point is if there was more than one thing that happened at the same time, and if you've seen Syracuse about what's going on there with buildings burning down here and there, and firemen getting hurt and everything else, how are you to respond to just more than one incident? You know, I hear those fire whistles going off all day long, and I hear fire engines going up and down the street down, I'm only 1 block from Kinney, so, you know, it's a main route. I hear them coming from each station. And so how are you supposing that there's gonna be a better response time with only just these amount of trucks? And not all these ones that East Syracuse has, I'm just.
You have to have members to man the trucks. And we have a paid department that will staff the trucks and respond to the calls. And the county has a system where each department backs up the other. So it's not uncommon for the DeWitt Fire Department to respond in Fayetteville or Manlius when either one of those townships are already involved in an incident. Likewise, those individuals back up DeWitt and East Syracuse, so.
We have to wait even longer for response from Fayetteville and Manlius. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Now, you're just telling me Fayetteville or Manlius, how the hell are they gonna get to my house?
They had a
problem,
Occurring, that's occurring now. The
That built.
response back and forth in different districts from different departments is already occurring.
Oh, Springfield. All I know is East Syracuse responded to my non-emergency actually, but you know, again, if they're in Fayetteville, Manlius, I know where those are. How are they to get here on this side of town? In these response times that you're saying? That's exactly what I'm talking about, with only just few trucks. I mean. If they were all combined together, I could see it working, but you're telling me the town and the village is separate then, right?
They're separate departments.
Okay, separate departments. So if they're separate departments, then we lose all of this while these guys are in Fayetteville with that junky truck that's smoking really bad. It needs rings, you know, and it's an expensive job for it. And you're looking about probably about $12,000-13,000 to overhaul the engine in that truck. But providing it does make it to me, again, I don't see where this logistically would work out for emergencies. I mean, you know, I just told you, it's time over distance, it's physics, okay, it's time over distance. And I'm not seeing that, and how do you explain that that's gonna happen? I mean, you know, God be with them all, but I don't think God's gonna make any miracle for two different emergencies while they're in Fayetteville and somebody else down here on, you know, at the opposite end of the district. How will you justify that? And these trucks here from DeWitt, they belong to them now, or you're spending more money to buy these trucks? New?
$4 million.
That's their plan.
Yep, that's their plan. They need-
Is that accurate, or what they're saying?
There will be equipment purchases. There will
Okay,
be.
so we already.
Will be with both.
Trucks, we already have trucks, but to go to this new thing, we're gonna have to buy all of these trucks?
The same responses coming out of Station Two.
No, I'm not, all right, so you're saying the same responses if they're Fayetteville. I guess you're gonna buy engines with twin turbos and superchargers on them to get them from Fayetteville to my house on Avon Street?
I don't live in.
I mean, how's the response time gonna be?
The DeWitt Fire Department, the DeWitt Fire Department will still be responding from Station Two at Sanders Creek in East Syracuse.
Right, but what if they're in, you're saying, but they patrol all of this extra area, a much smaller area, right?
I'm
than East
saying
Syracuse, right?
they share responsibilities with other districts, and it's a countywide system.
But you're saying they share responsibilities now.
With,
They both respond to each other, right?
yes.
So then why don't you just leave it the way it is? Okay, I'm just trying to understand, you know, I've only been a resident here like 9 years. So, and I'm just trying to make sense out of it, and I apologize, I did speak out of turn. Yeah, why don't you just pay them then? I mean, I know you said you're not professional. I was 12 years in the military and I was called a professional from day one, you know what I mean? So, these guys sound like they're well qualified.
Absolutely.
So then why, then you're gonna pay
And-
them?
The district is the only entity that can put in a special tax zone. And therefore, we can maintain lower costs long into the future.
Special tax zone. I don't know.
The numbers that I tried to display show that if we stayed the course with the village contract, costs would be greater to the residents in the north town than the current path we're on.
So it would be greater if we had just what we had opposed to this other fire department with obviously less staffing because there's less vehicles, right? And they're farther away and they have a larger district to cover. So why don't you just change the tax zone or the zoning or something like that? Can't you do that?
We can't. Again, the only option for the special tax zone is through a fire district.
All right, well, I guess I was asking to vote. I'd vote no on that. You know what I mean? And just leave it the way it is. I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it, I guess.
Right.
It's not.
And I like to deal with fire, you know, so next.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's all, I guess, all I got. I just, and I guess it's the chief there or something, I guess. I could make an appointment with him. to
Yeah.
Explain this, you know what I mean? But, it doesn't sound to me like you're doing the right thing, you know? and
Right.
That's kind of like the way I was raised and in the military, that's what you do the right thing. And, these people sound qualified, just like I'm qualified in the military. And I say you just pay them. Because I haven't heard anybody complain about our fire department anywhere. And I even thought it was silly having two of them in the same area. 1 and 2, I thought, when I first moved here, but I thought that's good coverage. I come from a town that has 2 manned fire departments, like what you're talking about, paid men, 2 fire departments in a 1 mile square. Just because there's a bridge that goes between them and they're want to cover this side of the bridge or that side of the bridge, if there's some reason why the bridge. So it sounds like it's kind of like the same thing here, but except that you've got more to cover. So I would just say, why don't you just pay these guys, forget about redoing it. Any taxes, anytime they say taxes, your taxes never go down. You know, I don't care what presidential administration is and whatever, I've never had my taxes go down.
Please.
You know, so I don't believe that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But
Thank you. Next.
Sharon, I'm Rock.
Okay, mine is just short and sweet. I'd like to remind the board that we, the people, voted for you to work for us.
Yep.
If this is such a good deal, put it up to a vote to see if the majority of the people agree with you, or are you afraid?
Yay. Next.
It doesn't matter, we didn't vote for Elon Musk.
You mean the mustard?
Say it again.
Herman Whalen, Luann?
Yep. Oh, so my name's not loudmouth bitch, it's
Hi.
Luann. Herman.
Oh, no, that's not who I'm calling. I'm calling Herman Whalen.
No, that's Luann.
That's Luann.
Oh.
Everybody-
geez, oh, it's another Herman. Sir, I'm sorry, I took, but yeah, you took my picture, called me a loudmouth bitch. My name's Luann.
Oh.
Did you?
Hi, my name's Herman Whalen. I'm just gonna give a comment. My father was a prisoner of war, the Korean War for 23 months. He got shot in the elbow, one in the shoulder, and the one in the shoulder killed his buddy next to him. And I believe my father, PTSD started June 8th, 1967. I was up at Park Hill School, I rolled the air. One of my neighbors come up, he ran into the bottom of the building. I was doing arts and crafts, and he goes, you better come, your house is on fire. And I ran down Bennett Street. And as I went out, got to my house, there was a fireman carrying my brother. He was dead, he was burnt alive. And I believe my father's PTSD started in June 8th. He died he was born for 29 days. He died July 6th. And every day I go up to the cemetery and I pray to him, every day. That's all I got.
Next is Richard McCoy.
I'm all set.
Next is Luann Herman.
Thank you, DeWitt, for all you do. We respect you. Gentlemen, I am a taxpayer. I live out by the Amazon site, so I see Manoa as often as I see East Syracuse. And I just don't understand why we would lose them and why you don't want the residents to vote on this. I can't quite figure out the numbers. I can't quite figure out why you can sit up here and make these choices for these residents. It doesn't make any sense to me. And I can't understand why anybody would not want to keep your residents feel.
Sir,
Someone's speaking. It's Bruce speaking.
I was looking for an answer. for
He's
the
not a
question.
professional.
I was looking for an answer for her question. Go ahead, ma'am. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I'll wait. It's fine. No, I was just, wondering why you wouldn't want your residents to feel like their neighbors are responded to by their neighbors. And if your residents feel like they are being betrayed by their board and they're clearly dissatisfied with their board, listen to them.
And it's our money.
Listen, I'm a taxpayer. You guys, you come out, the tree fell down recently. I talked to you guys way up here because the response time was like 30 minutes. You came out, you cleaned up the mess. You guys were freaking amazing. And I was so grateful. But listen to your people. What's it? I don't care if my taxes go up. I really don't, because they're gonna anyways.
Say that.
It doesn't matter.
Never go down.
Listen to your residents. Don't ruin what they have. Keep them happy and keep your freaking jobs if you want them. Thank you.
Next is Michael Riley.
First off, thank you to East Syracuse Fire Department and to the DeWitt Fire Departments for protecting us all. I grew up in the northern zone of the town of DeWitt. I still live there. I've had the fire department respond to a construction accident. They were there immediately. I have four comments. We've effectively tripled the size of the fire protection area for the town of DeWitt, for the DeWitt Fire Department. We're doing it with less equipment, less manpower. It doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know what the actual percentage is, but I guess it is over 90% of the industrial economy of the town of DeWitt is in the northern zone.
Yes, for the hotels.
I heard that over 90% of the hotel rooms in Onondaga County are in the northern zone of the town of DeWitt, which is now covered with a single truck. It's not an aerial truck. And reduced manpower. Do the hotels know of this? And do all these businesses, do any of the businesses know of that? How many of you board members own businesses in the northern part of DeWitt? I gotta say, I'm very, very disappointed in the town board for what you've done for the residents of the northern part of the town and future residents of any place in the town, because taxes are going to go up. And I'm very disappointed in the non-transparency of what you've all done. I'm very disappointed, and none of you will receive a vote from me the next time you run for any office. Thank you.
Brandon Sternberg.
Sternberg.
Good. That's all the guys do. Moving on.
Hello, board. I see you're enthused to meet us all. I came here hoping to, with an open mind, hear what your arguments were for this thing. And I don't believe you provided a convincing argument for why we benefit from it. I think you need to take the time, you need to present us with information that proves this is good for us before you make these decisions. And I think we do need to vote on this. Thank you.
Dan Romeo.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us tonight. So I stand in a unique position where I've been a fireman for 17 years, but I've also been an elected official for 10 years. So I understand both sides of this argument. The thing that I come here today to talk to you about is not to tell you which way you should go. I am the county representative for, excuse me, most of the northern part of town of DeWitt. This is your call. It is your decision to make. But with the discussions that I've had with some of you and some of the people behind me, I just feel like there's a lot of information that isn't clear. A lot of understanding that just isn't there. There's complexities to this that I feel still need to be hammered out. I'm not asking you to make a decision one way or another, but I'm asking you to take the time that this deserves, excuse me, to figure out what the best decision is. I'm here on behalf of the people that I represent in the Northern District and asking you to take your time and make the right decision based off clear information that I still think needs to be figured out. So please wait, take the time, make the right decision, whatever that is for all of you to decide. Thank you.
Bruce Burgee.
My name is Bruce Berge. I've been here 20 years. Down here now. And what you said about the firemen, my brother is a fireman, volunteer in Lowville, New York. Don't do that crap. That's the problem right here. You are not listening to these people. And that, all you people, you're not listening to what they're saying. Don't, Ed, let me
I apologize to the volunteers.
But that's too late, Ed. You've already put your foot down. You've already decided, all right? My brother has been damn near injured and hurt in fires, saving people, car accidents. Where's your stuff? These East Syracuse and everything, not with the DeWitt guys, okay? You're there. My East Syracuse people, I hear them going all the time. So your little statistic is way off, mister. You better look at it again, and you all better get with your act on this board and start listening and vote. Because what you did, I know isn't right, and you sound just like Donald Trump. And that is just. No, I'm not allowing you to say a word because I am done. You are not anybody's representative for the town of DeWitt. You don't represent these people at all. In the 20 years I've been here, I know that East Syracuse has been everywhere and helping. You need to think, and I don't know how you sleep at night.
Here comes the button. Got two of them. Don't touch that button. Mr. Ed. Don't touch that button.
What? Okay.
Vote if you want to.
Shall I close the public hearing?
No, is there anything else?
That's it.
That's it? Does anybody else want to speak up?
I think we said enough. Let the people vote on this. You know, it's our money. Let us vote.
It's a right.
Yeah.
You know, we don't care about $1.20, $1.20. You know, $1.67, excuse me. Let the people vote.
Go over
And they're professionals.
I will close the public hearing.
And you can't go into sanction by yourself. It's the law.
I'm gonna close the public hearing.
Can't hear.
Is there any comment from the board?
Yeah, I'd like to speak. My name is Jack Dooling. Lived in Franklin Park for over 50 years. And on the 7th of March, I was driving into my house. My wife was going out shopping to Wegmans to spend $1,000. I was alone and I heard the alarm going off and I didn't know what it was because we have alarm services, which is a house alarm. And then I didn't know what it was. So I got in the house. The alarm was going off extremely loud. It was a CO2 alarm. So I unplugged it and I called 911. And in 4 minutes, 4 guys from the town of DeWitt Fire Department responded. 2 came in the house, all 4 came in the house. Yeah, you all talk, let me talk.
Didn't you say Franklin?
A little courtesy. Franklin Park, 50 years, okay?
Yeah.
All right, so in 4 minutes, what?
When did this happen?
March 7th, I just said that. You'll be able to hear me, okay?
Oh, now we can, yeah, you got a point.
Okay. So in 4 minutes, the DeWitt Fire Department responded with 4 gentlemen who are paid firefighters. I don't know any of them. They didn't know me. They come in, 2 of them went down cellar, checked out the furnace, checked out everything down cellar. We have a finished off basement. The other 2 went in the upstairs, bathroom, kitchen, and they came back out and they said, they took the alarm apart and they pulled it apart. They said, you got this thing free in 2017 from National Grid. I suggest you throw it away, go over to Home Depot and buy a new one. They were courteous, they were kind, they were very professional. They're about average age of about 35 years old. They're very, very smart guys.
National Grid.
They were there in 4 minutes to my house in Franklin Park. Well, I'd appreciate what they've done.
Hey, why did they fire
He's got-
out there at the hotel?
Hotel, they're at my house.
I said, what if they had a
But fire doesn't mean anything.
over there hotel?
Because they didn't,
use.
they didn't have one.
What if they did? There's always bells and whistles over the hotels. They get called over there 4 times a day.
Don't wanna hear about it. Don't wanna hear it.
Yeah.
The other comment. Jack is saying anything bad about the.
Right. We're not-
One thing bad about the DeWitt Fire.
Anyways,
Talking about
what's the,
what you guys.
what's the pleasure of the board? Are you ready to?
Do to
Miss-
people in the North District.
Yes.
Oh, on this whole.
Hold on a
Right
second.
thing for once. This whole fiasco that you started. Do the right thing for once and let the people vote.
Let us vote.
Everyone had a chance to talk, let the town board talk. Go ahead.
They did. All right. When this conversation first began some months back,
You either. Mike, here.
when this conversation started some months back, I diligently took time to take everything into consideration. To the,
Quiet.
to the point where, when we were meeting upstairs, or it may have been down in this setting, I shared some information that was inaccurate. And since I shared it in inaccuracy publicly, at the next opportunity, I rectified it publicly. And it was regarding the East Syracuse Fire Department when my home, which is in DeWitt, caught on fire June 7th at about 1 a.m. The East Syracuse Fire Department, DeWitt, and Manlius responded. My level of appreciation for firefighters, for the sake of my family, my grandson, my mother-in-law, and my wife, Morky, went to a whole nother level. My daughter lived on Yates for a short period of time. And she had locked herself out. It was the East Syracuse Fire Department that came May I finish?
Yes, yes.
I didn't interrupt anyone while they were talking. East Syracuse Fire Department came and responded. So here I am in this setting. Sincerely, not because of obligation to either the town of DeWitt and or East Syracuse and or to the North Towns. And I am familiar with the North Towns. I went to Bishop Grimes and I hung out and many a day hanging up in Manoa and Fire Barn and drinking, doing what I did back in the day when I went to Grimes. A lot of friends that lived in Franklin Park and lived in the area. So I'm familiar with the areas, all of it. But I'm making decisions not as a commitment to institutions, but for the longevity and the advancement of our community. So I ask that as we make decisions, as I make decisions, as all of us are making this decision, to remember that I am not being led by Ed. And that's why I stood up to say that each one of us are making decisions. It is of my understanding and my impression that we're making decisions based on our own research, insights, and evaluations. I know I am. And I am concerned, and I do take into consideration your comfort level, because it meant something to me to make sure on June 7th that firemen, women responded. And thank you, East Syracuse, for responding. You came and you did the job, and you did it exceptionally well. And I thank you, and I will always be indebted to you for what you have done. So I am not making a decision based on anything other than what is going to advance us as a community. And however we ever come to this conclusion, I'm speaking for me. And that me means that I am not being led by the voice of one, but by what I know and what I have taken into consideration. It may not be the decision that everybody agrees with, and I may have to take the hits and the results for it. But if I can stand and say I've been wrong in public one time, if I'm wrong, I'll say it again.
You just proved our point though. Proved our point.
But if at least, if the opportunity, there were 3 that responded. There were 3 that responded. And we now are saying, give the opportunity. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
You proved our point just now. You have, and it took 3 districts, 3, with how many men, would you say? At least 4 on a pumper, right? Right? And then so you had 3 districts. You probably had 18 people there. You want to take 1 district and divide it 3 ways. With the same amount of people. How is it possible? If it took 3 districts for 1 house fire, now throw in the 90% of the calls that they have that are 8 calls. Just like at my house, when the woman across the street passed away peacefully, East Syracuse came. Lights no, lights on, quietly. With all the respect in the world, they pulled that woman from her house because the police couldn't do it. And of course, DeWitt didn't show up. It was the sheriffs, because you guys never come to our neighborhood. That's where the climbing neighborhood. But I don't understand how you think. And then this is, if I understand, am I right to understand that this is a 1-year contract? 1 year. Is this only for 1 year? Are we going to spend all this money on equipment and education when you say that we have it? They have 40 signed guys. It is there. This is not a personal vendetta, Ed, right, with you and the mayor? No, it couldn't possibly be. You can't make a decision for what the people want, because if you took this to vote, most of the votes are right here in the northern. So you know you would lose if you took this to public vote. That's why you do everything behind the doors without consideration as to how it affects our declining neighborhoods. Thank you.
What is the,
If you took that in consideration what happened to you in June, then how did you vote and sign a contract with them on December 14th in 2024.
Sir, if in due process, if in due process, we've had public hearing. So now we need to go on and carry out the business of the.
Yeah, now I don't remember seeing anything in the papers in December about this vote or anything to vote. Did you print it on the back page of the newspaper or something in a 1-inch square? Cause I'm here, I got an invitation to come here and apparently from the chief, not from you.
Again,
Apparently I didn't get it in December either. Did I miss something? Cause I get my mail every day in my house.
That might change.
And I wanted, you should have taken that into consideration on December 14th, especially if that happened to you in June. And again, my point again,
Right.
3 fire departments.
Sir,
that
sir.
Responded.
Thank you.
What's gonna happen with only 5 trucks?
Thank you for your comment.
The 2 different fire, after the trying to.
Is there anyone else on the board that would like to comment, or should we move to?
Whoa.
Whoa.
Let the people vote.
I'll entertain a motion,
People want to talk.
resolution, solve the Syracuse Fire Protection District.
We doing an executive session?
No, we're doing it in.
You know.
Can I just ask one question? Why have none of you answered why we can't put this up for a vote?
Right.
I have legal counsel here.
Abolish the police department. We put it up for a referendum and the people voted. Why can't we do that?
If I can answer this question for you. So, Pinsky. I am the past chief of the manliest fire department. So if we're gonna throw stones at volunteers, I've got 32 years and 22 years in manliest. I've worked with East Syracuse, I've worked with DeWitt. We've all saved lives and put out fire together. I represent about 500 fire departments as an attorney. Was asked by the town to answer one simple question. Can we put this to a vote? Unfortunately, this has nothing to do with the town. The law is very straightforward. I will.
Was it with the police department? Let's hear it.
Let's hear it. That's it.
The simple answer is, and I can share the controller's opinions with you. There are numerous court cases on this. Unfortunately, when the law does not provide the right for members of the public to petition for a vote or does not require a vote, the law specifically prohibits a town board from being able to hold a vote. If the town put this out for a vote, it would have no meaning, it would have no effect, and it would be overturned immediately.
By who?
By who? By who?
Decision.
Look, I'm just sharing the point, and you can yell at me all you want. I'm just telling you the law. But I will, if anyone would like, I will share the citation, I will share the law. That is the answer. That is the answer. Unfortunately, I'm sorry, you can't have a vote even if they wanted.
Sir, prepare to go to vote.
This is a public.
Harriet, you prepare to go to vote?
Hold on, guys. All right. Wait, everybody pipe down and just listen.
Prepare to go to vote?
I forgot to mention, somebody wanting to pass something on. When I came tonight, his name is Carl Sterling. Does everybody know who Carl?
Yeah, guys, Sterling, yeah.
Back and I said, okay.
Yeah, he's still like.
Over the past probably 15 years, I've gotten letters, I've gotten about all kinds of town stuff. I've got all kinds of justification. Why are we doing this? Why we're doing that? Why we're this? And you know something? Nobody ever asked what we thought. Now, yes, you can't have a legal vote. Okay, I get it. But if you had a vote to get the opinion, whenever I talk to people, I try to read the room. I'll tell you what, you guys need to go back to school because you can't read. Okay? Pay attention to these people behind you. I know my taxes are going up, and I know you're gonna go behind the closed door and you're gonna go, we're all set now. But please, before you jump into anything, before you do anything more to any of these people, these guys over here, even these guys, because you're gonna put them in a spot that they're not gonna be comfortable with. Use some common sense. Reach out to the people and get their real opinion. You guys, it doesn't do any good to yell and scream at these people because they're not paying attention anyhow. It's bad.
They want
So,
to pay attention all.
well,
All right,
what you should all do, please, put this on the back burner. Try to put something out, get a public opinion poll, do something. Don't go and shoot yourself in the foot tonight.
You did already.
Thank you.
They're professional, they're not professional.
Don't keep it a secret.
no,
Let's see what
I'm-
we do, guys.
is the board prepared to vote on this?
I'm heard of all the other.
All right, I'll entertain a motion to dissolve the Syracuse Fire Protection District. I will entertain a motion to dissolve the East Syracuse Fire Protection District. I have a motion from Carrie. Do I have a second? From Jack. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Right.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Abstained? Okay. Motion's carried. I'll entertain a motion to expand the DeWitt Fire Protection District into the former district. I have a motion from Carrie, a second from Jack. I'll call for the vote. All in favor?
Right.
Opposed?
Opposed.
Abstained? Motion's carried.
Can I
You.
ask one thing? Why is it that the people, the ones that are voting for your thing, don't even listen to their views?
They don't live in the
They
district.
do not live in our area. Why is it even a vote?
We enter executive.
Remember in November when you got.
Motion from Carrie, a second from Jack. I'll call for the vote. All in favor? Okay.
Call yourself a president.
You know, I am
Not voted for.
We're all done.
I don't know who we here.
Sorry about tonight, with Channel 9. Would you be?
Nice showing.
I'm Lex.